Okay, I'm back to do the lashing on of my warp for my band weaving using my Kromski Harp 8-inch rigid heddle loom as a frame. So if you'll recall in the last video, I tied these loose little knots when I did my sleighing. And I did these loose little knots just kind of to keep everything in place. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take these little loose knots out and in groups, and I'm going to retie them. Now on the very first set, over here on the right hand side, these are border threads. I like where those border threads are for my lashing on, and this is a good group, so I'm just going to retie this knot in a double overhand knot to use for lashing on. So I'm just going to retie that as a double overhand knot. As a double overhand knot, it is not going to slip when I do my lashing on. And I just kind of pull that straight, nice and tight, straight off of the back beam. There we go. Okay, now these were my background threads. And as you'll recall, I was very careful not to crisscross those with my pattern threads. And again, I'm going to be very careful not to crisscross those with my pattern threads. Now I'm going to gently remove the knot that is on the bottom of those. And I'm going to reset this as 3 groups of 4 pairs. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And now again, I'm going to do a double overhand knot. I'll be right back. Okay, and then the last, I've done my background threads. Now I'm going to do this last set of border threads over here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and again, I like the group that's already here for my lashing on. So all I'm going to do is just do a quick little double overhand knot for this set also. Okay. But I still need to prepare my pattern threads for lashing on also. So now I'm going to set these up and out of my way. And now I'm going to take a look at my pattern threads. And remember, I tied a loose knot in those. And I'm still being very careful not to crisscross my pattern threads with my background threads. Now, I don't want this to stay as a group of 13, so I'm going to divide this into 2 groups. One group's going to have 6 in it. And again, I'm going to do a double overhand knot here, and a double overhand knot on the other one. Okay, now my groups are ready for me to lash on. I'll be right back. Please excuse that slightly dizzying moment while I adjusted the camera so that you could better see what was going on now. Now I have attached a lashing yarn thread, which is just basically a piece of 8/4 cotton, to my front apron rod of my Kromski 8-inch rigid heddle loom here that I'm using as a frame. And now I'm going to take my first group on the right hand side here, and I'm going to separate the slots and threads, the slots and holes on the group here, and I'm going to separate them so that I have the slots above, and the holes below. You can do it the other way around, it doesn't matter, whichever you prefer. Anyways, the slots and the holes, and I'm going to separate them, and I'm going to run my lashing yarn right through the, see how that made like a, when I separated them, how it made like a little loop there. I'm going to run my lashing yarn right through there. Okay, now I'm going to take my lashing yarn and I'm going to go over and then under my apron rod, just like that. And then I'm going to go to my next group. Now that was on the border threads. Now I'm going to pick up a background threads, and again I'm going to separate the slots and the holes, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to go again, loop right through the center of the loop. And again, I'm going to come back to my apron rod, and again, I'm going to go over and under. It's important that you always go over and under on that apron rod. Now, the next group that I'm going to pick up is actually, I know I say don't crisscross, but now where's the one time that we're actually going to go down, and we're going to pick up the pattern threads, because the pattern threads have to be lashed on also. We need them tensioned. Now, because we don't have slots and holes to be able to pick up and make a loop, we're going to pick up every other one. We're going to pick up every other 1, 2, and 3. And now this is where my loop is. And we're going to go through that loop. And again, we're going to go over and under. Okay. And then the next one, we go back to the background threads. Going to go back to the background threads. And again, separating holes and slots, run through the loop there. And again, we're going to go back to our apron rod. Try to even these out on my apron rod a little bit. There we go. That's better. Now we're going to go back to the pattern threads. The next set that I pick up is going to be on the pattern threads. Again, I'm going to pick up every other one on my every other set on my pattern threads, every other pair on my pattern threads. There we go. Every other, made my loop, run through my loop. Okay. There we go. Okay, back to the background threads. Back to my background threads. And then finally that last set of border threads. When I get to the other end, I'm going to tie this off with the surgeon's knot. Like that. There we go. Okay. Now, obviously, this is not nice and even. Obviously, this is not nice and even yet. I'm going to even it up a little bit with my fingers, just like this. Just kind of make it a little bit more even. And then I'm going to wind it on. And I'm going to continue to even it. And now, because this is a band weaving, I'm going to scoot these inward as I even it. Let's even these up a little bit more. They're not quite even enough. Even it up a little bit. You can feel the difference in them with your fingers. You can feel it. Just feel it. You can feel the tension difference, just like that. Even them up and wind it on. And you can feel it and even it and feel it and even it. Just evening it up with your fingers a little bit. And winding it on. And then bunching it up, because it's band weaving, you bunch it up. I don't bunch it up like that when I'm lashing on for traditional weaving. There we go. And I am now all nice and lashed on and ready to do my weaving. Thank you.